Hi, I'm Tyler from the Rive team. Today we're going to be going over how to control smart devices in your home with Rive UI elements. Let's get started. So we're going to go and get started by finding a switch on the Rive marketplace to use in our design. We're just going to go ahead and look through the various designs until we find one that we like. So here's one that I chose. Is Creative Commons licensed, so we'll be giving the credit in the description. You click on Remix here to bring in the file to a new project. The file currently uses legacy inputs, which is not going to be as easy to communicate with the runtime. So what I'm going to do is convert the file to use view model properties instead of legacy inputs. Converting the click input to a trigger on the view model will allow the runtime to listen for that trigger, so when it gets clicked, we can perform some action in our code. And here we go. You can see the button now works using the new trigger that we've created. However, we're also going to want to create a Boolean value. This is going to contain the state of the button. We're going to set the default value of the state to true to match the state of the button file. Now we're going to create a Boolean toggle converter. That's going to allow us to change the state property to the opposite when it gets clicked. We're going to use the state in our code to determine the state of the button at runtime. So here's our file. We're just going to go ahead and drag it into the project that I've already made. And we're going to add this new file to the assets list. That's going to allow Flutter to detect this new Rive file so that we can use it in our code. It's called mode switch .riv. And then our Rive screen, we're going to go to the top and change the name of the asset to the new one that we've just added. Next, we're going to have to add some logic. This is going to be how we detect if the switch gets clicked, and when it does get clicked, we need to acquire the state of the button. That way we could pass it over to the handle click function, which takes in the current state, and depending on the state, it'll flick the switch, our smart switch, one way or the other. So here we're adding a listener. A listener is a way to listen for when the trigger gets clicked in our Rive file. And we're going to want to now get the variable for the current state. So we'll just add that down here. Then we'll just add the function call to the handle click function using the Boolean value that we've just acquired. So now we're just going to go ahead and compile this. Here's our switch, and it functions as expected. So just taking a deeper dive into the code here, I wanted to show off a little bit about the functions involved. Here in the main function, we're just initializing Rive the normal way for Flutter. There's also a window API that allows me to create a perfectly sized window that matches the same size as the artboard. Here in the Rive screen, you can see that we've got an HS103 object. So that is going to be the smart plug that I'm controlling remotely. I've just built this basic wrapper around an API, and this is what's controlling the actual hardware. And you can see that under the hood, we're using something called a Casa device. Casa is the brand of smart plug that I'm using. The Casa device class is a very basic wrapper around the HTTP protocol for the smart plug. This isn't something you need to worry about. This is just under the hood, how I'm communicating with the smart plug. But depending on your smart device, you can use whatever API is available. And that's it. Here it is in action. This has been Tyler from Rive. Have a good day.